All right. I think this time we have it, or at least I hope so. All right, so I should be able to connect now. Live. See. Okay, live streaming. All right. Connect streaming software to go live. Oh, hey, I think it works. All right. Well, I've made some progress. How about that? There we go. All right, now, and hello, JRR Finishes. Yeah, I think I'm finally figuring out how to make this work. Although I would like to confirm, can you hear me? Yes or no? Can you hear me? I am talking on the microphone. Okay, can you hear any audio? Because everything here seems to suggest that the audio should be working. I've got a little checkbox by the microphone. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, excellent. All right. Okay. Well, there we go. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Well, obviously, this is all very impromptu. This is my first time attempting to do a live, well, technically my second or third time, attempting to do a live stream through Cyberlink Stream Recorder, which is part of the package that I have with my video editing software. And I figured, well, this is as good a way as any to, well, again, to learn how to do this by actually going live. And that's good, because especially since, if I'm seeing this right, we are, right now you are looking at a screen from eBay. So that means I managed to set the window correctly. And I'm hoping the screen quality looks all right as well. Okay, so far so good. And thank you once again to everybody. As always, I'm not asking anybody to stay and interrupt their evening because, you know, it is a Monday night. It's not Wednesday. And as you can see, I'm just really pretty much doing whatever comes to mind here. I'm seeing another notice here. Error. Please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Currently, keyframes are... Okay. Keyframe of 4 seconds or less. I'm not even sure what that means. How clearly can you see the movement, folks? Since it looks like this scrolling ad on eBay seems to be going every few seconds. If I can confirm that, then I guess we can at least, well, move on, so to speak. Also, how loud am I? I mean, I actually had the microphone more than a foot away. Okay. All right. Well, that all looks good. Okay. In that case, cool. Well, then while we're here, I might as well waste some time, I suppose. And let's punch in a topic here on our favorite site, eBay. So that, gee, if I happen to type in, like, oh, I don't know, like say, for instance, BSR cast iron, and hit the enter button, I wonder what might come up. Like usual sound. Well, that's good to hear. Okay, well, that means if I scroll this up and down, you should be able to see me clearly. Although, I'm hoping, yeah. On my on the YouTube studio screen here, it seems to be a few seconds behind. Okay. Like for instance, right now, you see in the search bar up here under eBay, I'm not going to search for something different, but I'm going to type in something. And could you at least tell me if somebody could just copy what I'm reading? It'll give me an idea at least of what I'm writing, that is. At least they give me a good idea if there's a substantial delay or not. If you could kindly type in what I typed into the search bar there. Only because I'd like to be sure that, well, again, you are seeing what I'm seeing, and if there is or is not a substantial delay. I'm hoping there is not. Again, it's what I typed into the search bar here. And I suppose I should ask if you could see my mouse moving around on the screen too. Okay. Okay, good. All right, well, I'm getting something at least. Okay, well, why not? Oh, gee, right now, yeah, thank you very much, Cynthia Wesley, as well. Right now, yes, we are indeed looking at BSR cast iron on eBay. Yes, and likewise, Rick Stumbow, thank you very much. Because this is, of course, one of my favorite subjects. And I have indeed found a few of my items on eBay, but not very much. I mean, in quite a few of my you can't see the mouse. Thank you. In quite a few of my live videos, I've mentioned how eBay cast iron is ridiculously overpriced, and I have no doubt whatsoever that my mind is not going to change now. Not if we look down and see here. We got a vintage BSR number 8 Century Series cast iron skillet. Sits flat. It's a standard Century Series number 8. And they're selling it at $36 plus $9.74 shipping. So we're talking like more than $45 here for this. Yeah, lots of watches. Well, that's good, I guess. More than $45 for this typical number 8 Century Series cast iron skillets. Which to me really sounds like this would be too high of a price for a number 8. Not just from the fact that I have enough number 8 skillets, but for a new person, for someone who is looking to score their first BSNR cast iron skillet, I would really say, oh yeah, that's a notice of, not sure if that even popped up. I've got a notice here of my email. But anyway, I would say that this price here is probably, including the shipping, is probably about double what I personally would be willing to pay for a number 8 Century Series cast iron skillet. I'm not sure if folks may disagree with that or not. That's just my personal preference. I probably would not want to pay more than $20 really for a BSNR Century number 8. Maybe 25 if I felt there was some reason to go a little higher. Here's another one, for instance, number 8, that says it has a bid of $20, or you can buy it now for, well, essentially $30 plus $24.75 shipping. So in other words, you would be paying anywhere from $50 to $55 for this one. So yeah, that is quite a price for something that we can still find relatively easily at flea markets and at yard sales and all the rest. And this one, on the other hand, is interesting. This is a, let me see, Birmingham Stove and Range. This is a camp oven, $48. That's not a bad price, I suppose. But let's see what size this is. It's a 10-inch. Okay. That tells us something. Whether you might want to pay $48 plus shipping. How much did it say the shipping costs? $11.65. Well, I don't think this guy's trying to rip you off. I would say that this guy here is probably like an honest eBay seller. It's only that eBay prices are generally inflated anyway. So, and yeah, I mean, BSNR camp ovens are unusual. I don't know if you'd call them rare, but they're not that easy to find. So if you really, really wanted to get a Century Series BSNR camp oven, even if it is only a 10-inch one, for a total of probably about $60, including shipping, well, that you may or may not be interested in. I wouldn't exactly call it a ripoff. By the way, note that this has the tab handle as well, which is how we can guarantee that this is a Century Series. And furthermore, if it mentions it has this mold ID number of 20H1, that would push this even further up to the 1970s or later. Again, I am not criticizing this guy. I'm just doing my best. Yeah, am I still live? Well, I hope I'm I hope you can see me all right. Um, yeah, no, that's not a bad price, I don't think. So, I mean, again, if you have a real need, I mean, if you really feel that you want a BSNR camp oven, I would say this would not be a bad price. It's not something I think I would absolutely jump at. It's not the thing. It's not the thing. Oh my God! Shut up and take my money. No. And quite frankly, I'm not expecting to see something like that here tonight, especially on eBay. If we look further down, oh, there's an interesting one. A Lady Best wooden handle number 6, which remember is a 6-inch Lady Best cast iron skillet. So you may remember I actually unboxed one of these myself, and I've used it a few times. Yet I probably would not want to pay $55 for a 6-inch cast iron skillet, even if it is from the Lady Best series. So I'm sorry, $65, including the $10.50 shipping costs. So yeah, no, that's quite a bit more than what I'd be willing to pay for it. But nonetheless, if you wanted to take a look and see what a Lady Best series pan looks like, well, these are some pretty good photos here, upside down or not. Note again that the Lady Best series used actual inches for measurements and just straight on, so that this so-called number 6 is in fact a 6-inch skillet. It's not the size of a number 6 BSNR skillet. And I guess we can keep going. Well, here's an interesting one as well. The Handy Dan cornstick pan. It says cornstick cookie pan, although again we know what this is for. And out of curiosity, let me scroll down to the description here of this. Welcome to my eBay store. Okay, we won't sold online. Basically, we try to be nice sellers. Well, that's nice. That's nice. Although it used an item that's been previously. All right. Well, I'm not okay. This all suggests that these guys know enough that this is the Handy Dan cornstick pan, but I'd say they don't have any special knowledge of it any more than most eBay sellers would have. And well, again, I'm not going to criticize them for that. I mean, granted, you've got to be a real cast iron geek like maybe me, in order to really recognize right at first glance, in fact, what a special pan the Handy Dan cornstick pan was or is. So, let me see. This is an interesting one. A 3S, no less. And actually, all things considered, this might not be a bad price for people who know how rare the S series is. I mean, here's a 3S selling for $20, and so with $10.75 shipping, it would be $30. If you really, really wanted to collect BSNR cast iron, this might not actually be a bad price, all told, for the 3S. So I'm not sure if anybody may or may not disagree with this. And of course, it's out there on eBay, meaning that if you wanted to grab this right now, well, you could certainly do so. Put a bid on it. I wish I had the money to buy some. Yeah, I know that feeling all too well, Mercy B, as well. So I'm really just browsing here for the sake of browsing, and as I said, to get used to this live streaming thing here. Here is here's a number 10 BSNR so-called unmarked large skillet. Although the fact that it's mentioning 12.5 inches suggests that this might actually be a Century series as well. And yes, it is. I mean, we can definitely tell here with no problem at all that this is a Century series. Not bad, though. In fact, the markings look like it's exactly like the one that I have in my own collection that I've shown off a couple of times. In that it's a 12 and 7/16 inches. 7/16. I do believe that is the one that they made after the size change in the mid-1970s. Still, that is quite a price. $75 plus another $13.60 for shipping. For shipping, I will only say that I paid $20 for my number 10 at a flea market. So I like to think that was that was a fair score there. So, all right. Rather than just waste your time, and hopefully in order to keep your interest, here's a square skillet, although he's hoping for bids to go up to as high as $100. So, if anybody wants to, a 10-inch chef skillet. Oh, this is interesting. 10-inch chef skillet, except this is definitely BSR, only this guy doesn't know it. Let's take a look at this one. Here's something actually interesting here. This is definitely a BSR chef skillet. You can tell by the handle here, even though it is completely unmarked. The seller apparently is not aware of that, and so he's obviously putting the big keywords in. Wagner, interesting that BSR is now an eBay keyword. Cleaned and seasoned. It's got a bid of $30 on it. $17.50 with shipping, meaning that the absolute minimum you would be paying for this would be about $45. So, still too rich for my blood, I'm afraid, but likely it means a lot. Yeah, he's stupid for that stupid price for a square. Yes. Hello, everybody. Papa Dan. I still can't read comments, but I'm listening. Cindy is still under the weather, having more tests. Best of luck. Best of luck to you, Papa Dan. That's all I can say. Anyway, it's a nice looking chef skillet, that's for sure. But again, as I said, most of these eBay prices are still too rich for my blood. I have not. I will admit that so far of the pieces we've seen in these past few minutes or so, this 3S may actually be tempting. As I said, if somebody was really into collecting BS&R, and there are quite a few people these days, now I'm not saying who, this price here, plus the shipping as well, might not be a bad one for a 3S. But that so far is the only thing we've seen so far, I think, that might actually be considered something. Yeah, I've had a lot of eBay, but you have to be really patient. Yes, exactly, Sean K. You're exactly right about that. I will not disagree there. Most of these things I would indeed say are overpriced. Like, for instance, here it looks like here is a BS&R fish fryer that they're selling for $124. And here is a shallow fish fryer that they're selling for $250. Yeah, boy, at that price, they had damn well better fill it with sushi or some kind of fish as well. So yeah, no, I would not be willing to pay $250 for a BS&R shallow fish fryer. So the seller on this can definitely count me out, that's for sure. Our shipping has gone up here. Yeah, exactly, Cynthia. I'm not disagreeing with you. Dang, you're not kidding there. Yeah, these prices are quite something, aren't they? Let me close a couple of these windows here. And let's see if okay. I could keep scrolling down, but I know the prices are going to go out. Hey, look at this, though. BS&R Birmingham Stove and Range, number 8 Dutch oven, $41 for the first offer, $21 shipping. So, assuming the bidding doesn't go way, way up, we're looking at a number 8 sized BS&R Dutch oven here. This is definitely 1970s or later, but it's still a BS&R Dutch oven. 1970s. Let me point this out again, folks. This is in fact, let me do that again. It's an 8B. Anybody who knows the 8B means that in the mid 1970s, BS&R, see, that's why we have a 7 here. The BS&R actually took their number 7 sized pans, and I guess their Dutch ovens as well, and simply renamed them as number 8, and that's why they called it 8B. Especially, well, partly it was really a cost-saving measure more than anything else, because the very slightly smaller size means that they could fit 2 of them in their molds. But anyway, this is an 8B BS&R Dutch oven, which again, this guy here is selling with shipping for a minimum of $62, and if the price goes up, it may be more than that. May or may not be worth it, I suppose. I mean, if you're actually in the area of Henderson, Kentucky, you might even want to consider driving out there to pick it up. That is, assuming something like this interests you. So they run around 24 each. Oh, 9-inch pie pans, huh? Oh, what are those large 9? Okay. Yeah, they are a work of art. Okay. But anyway, this was an interesting one. No, Cynthia Wesley, I don't think this is worth throwing up over. At least I hope it's only because of this that you just threw up and not that you're sick. If you are sick, well then I definitely say, take some aspirin or ibuprofen or Tylenol or something and lay down and drink some orange juice. That's the best I suppose I could say about that. Anyway, that's not too bad of a deal. Although, again, there's been nothing here that has absolutely made me want to just stop what I'm doing and grab it. Although, yeah, Red Mountain lid only, no less. An 8B Red Mountain lid. And the guy's looking for a minimum of 35 or buy it now at 55. So, yeah. Here is a 3G cast iron skillet. Oh, it's a number 3 size for $7.50, which might be nice except for the $14 shipping and handling. And I suppose I could get, hey, check this out. Oh my, and you know what? You know what I'm finding interesting about this one? Yes, we know, it's the Mercedes one, right? Yeah, I mean, you can tell this is the Mercedes skillet or the piece skillet. But get this, here's what they call it. BS&R Vintage Teflon Cast Iron Skillet. So this guy knows, Mercedes. This guy actually knows that this thing was, in fact, a Teflon-coated pan. Huh. So this guy's actually been doing his internet research. That's interesting. He says, heat ring rare, and yet he's starting with a bid of $5. Huh. Three bids already. I would not call this a ripoff. As far as eBay goes, that's actually an interesting little piece here, and I would probably call this a fair price. Maybe even with the $15 shipping cost if you felt it was worth it. I don't own a Mercedes skillet yet, and considering, again, I know this, I say this a lot, considering the size of my collection, but it's like it's not something that I'm going to go out of my way for. If I managed to come across one of these in the wild, I think I'd be sorely tempted, and for $5 in the wild, I would probably snatch this up without even blinking. So, yeah, but not on eBay, largely because, again, of the extra shipping cost. It'll be way up later, and you're probably right about that, Cynthia, as well. I'm just amused as well that he calls it a Teflon cast iron skillet. So this person here has been doing his internet research, or he actually follows the cast iron community on the internet. So he's not just your typical eBay seller. Thumbs up to him for that reason. Round griddle. Here's a number 8 chicken fryer. Wait a second. Unmarked BS&R number 8 cast iron chicken fryer. He's calling it a BS&R number 8? Something strange about this. All right, folks, who here could tell me why this doesn't really look like a BS&R chicken fryer? I can think of a couple reasons. And I would really have to call this a Southern Mystery skillet more than anything else. All right, yeah, it's an interesting looking one, though. I will say that. I mean, it's actually nice. It's got a price, though. Look at this, at $49.99. Shipping and handling, $57.49. So if you were to buy this one online, you'd be paying a minimum of $100 for this set here. So it's definitely a one of a kind, though. Look at this. Look at this interesting lifting handle here on the end. Let me move up here. It's got this weird looking handle. But I mean, I would, other than that, I would definitely call this the markings of a Southern mystery skillet, even though the seller is in fact in California. Helper tab, pour spouts. And this trivet looks like a lodge. I may be wrong about that. I will not say I'm absolutely certain it's a lodge trivet, but that's the first thing I would think of as well. So, with lid and trivet, obviously this guy either has his own antique store or booth or something because of the fact that he put a sales tag on it. Hello, Debbie. Yes, hi. Well, this is, I would really just call this just a spur of the moment live stream, because what I'm really doing is, for the first time, I am actually streaming from my screen rather than from my camera. So this is my first time doing this. I mean, I know other folks have been doing this for a long time, like our friend the Mudbrooker, for instance. He regularly, I've found that on his live streams, quite often he goes to places like Goodwill and looks for cast iron on there just to see what's going on. This, as I said, this is my first time doing this live. So this is all pretty much as new to me as it is to you, although it looks like I'm finally starting to get the hang of it. So, as such, nobody is required to stay here for the entire stream. I'm just wasting time, and if you think this is a waste of time, please feel free to leave. I don't have any problem with that, and I'm not trying to argue with anyone. Nonetheless, yeah, either Lodge, Blacklock, or Southern Mystery. I got two of them. I would probably call this Southern Mystery because I have never seen a Lodge lid with an underside like this. For that matter, I have never seen a BS&R with a pattern like this on the underside either. If in fact this was handmade, this, I would actually say the guy really took his time designing this thing. So it's an interesting little piece, yeah. I'm not sure if it would be worth $100 and something for, but it's still an interesting piece. Let's see, BS&R corn stick, yeah, alternating molds, unbranded as they call it. Here is another BS&R chicken fryer, and this one is going for $75. Yeah, the prices are starting to go up now, that's for sure. Oh, excuse me. Vintage 2-quart brown enameled saucepan pot. So it's an enamel BS&R 2-quart saucepan. $75. BS&R never did their enamelware, their own enamelware. The enamel was always done by third parties. I understand that they may have had an enamelware factory way back in the early 20th century, but that I believe was burned down in one of their major fires. So yeah, it's almost guaranteed that this, in fact, would have been enameled by a third party and not by BS&R. So, I've already said enough about prices on eBay. I don't need to go again and again into this. Here's a BS&R number 12 Century Series. Restores, sits flat, info, pics, $99. Let's see if we have any, well, there's a little bit of pitting on the surface as well. Yeah, it seems pretty rough. I would guess that this thing was actually in pretty rough condition when this guy found it and restored it. I'm not sure if this photo, let me bring this one up again. The red, the tint of this photo, that might just be the quality of the picture. I'm not sure if you could call this rust or fire damage. I do not think it's fire damaged, but I'm not 100% sure. I think this guy probably did a really tried to enhance the photo, though. So it's really hard to judge specifically. Am I seeing any photos of the underside? Oh, it's got a lot of photos of the surface. Well, here's one. Okay, so it's a number 12, 13, and what's that say? 7/16. Okay, that would mean that this, again, is a 1970s or later Century Series number 12, which means that the rough condition may also have been genuine and not just found in bad condition. Because some of BS&R, especially the later years of BS&R, unfortunately, they did produce some series that were some pans that were definitely unsanded or smoothed or anything like that, and they had a rough surface. Most of the chat room is waiting for warmer weather so they can go treasure hunting. Well, today, here in New York, we happen to get over 65 degrees for, I think, the first time this year. It'll be like this tomorrow, too, but then after that, the temperature's going to drop somewhat, and Mowgli's going to have to stay inside. I know she's not going to like that. Anyway. Yeah, well, yeah. Cynthia, that's one reason why I wanted to do this. I mean, I've seen other folks do these kind of streaming lives. Again, I mentioned the Mudbrooker. He does this quite often. I'm not sure if he does this every week or not, but quite often he does this, and he goes on to Goodwill. And it's largely because of that, not him in particular, but I had wanted to go to give this a try and see how it turns out. I'm not even monetizing this video, largely, whoops, wrong one, sorry. Largely because it's the, because again, this is my first attempt at doing these things. $40, Birmingham Stove number 3. And here's another cast iron skillet with lid, hand scribed. Hand scribed, huh? That's interesting, assuming they're telling the truth. Restored BS&R cast iron skillet number 8 with lid, hand scribed, heat ring, $100. Shipping, $131. Oh, man. So, yeah, in other words, you're going to pay over $200 for this set. The shipping costs more than the pan itself, and the $100 price? Woo! Oh, boy. Yeah. What was that about throwing up, Cynthia? And I think I can certainly understand that. Debbie, I got 5 lodge with a wolf on the back for $5. Nice. Oh yeah, so it's their newer wildlife series. That's not bad. I actually have one of those as well. So yeah, I think you'll enjoy that, Debbie. Let's take a closer look at this $200 skillet, shall we? Let me see if I can get these. Okay. Well, okay. I will say it does look like it might be hand scribed. 8Q. Interesting. Very amusing. Yeah, not okay. I'll give it that it's in good condition. And furthermore, it has large dimples as well. You know, I think I should really point that out at some point. I've noticed we know about the dimples, and yeah, it's funny how the light of this, BS&R had dimples, right? They didn't have spikes, but this thing actually looks like it's. Let me try to get a closer look at this particular image. Open image, new tab. It doesn't seem to get any bigger than this. Those don't look like the usual dimples or divots you see in the underside of a BS&R. They look like just the opposite, in fact. If this is a pan that actually has these kind of, they're not spikes, but rather these little bumps rather than divots, and it's BS&R, That would be, yeah, kind of dimply spiky. Yeah, I know. But BSNR didn't do that. However, well, remember, BSNR had unique sizes. So I would indeed say this is quite unusual. I don't think it's worth freaking $230, though. Yeah, no. Whew. But it's so unusual that, well, even though I'm a cheapskate, I would not be willing to pay $100 for it. This is definitely an interesting piece, and collectors might actually be interested in something like this at a substantial discount. And I either got a box or a cast iron Egyptian looking, maybe Greek looking horse rearing up. Oh, that's interesting. Someone tell me the difference between bronze and cast iron. Well, bronze is not the same color. Bronze is, what can you say? Bronze. It has that yellowish, orange, gray, orangish color. I suppose if it's really, really corroded, and I don't mean rusty, but maybe that might darken it. But that would be one difference between bronze and cast iron. This is an interesting piece. I will grant them that. Not interesting enough to pay $231 though. An 8L old extra large number 10 skillet. Possibly a BSNR. Holy cow! $237? Oh, man. And this guy doesn't even know what it is. And if we look at it, just at a glance, my first thought is it might be handmade. I mean, well, no, okay, I'm wrong. It's definitely a red mountain, and in fact, it looks like it's handwritten, hand scribed as well. And look at those tiny, tiny pour spouts. So this could indeed be a very old handwritten skillet. But $237? Yeah. Okay. Anybody remember this Bugs Bunny cartoon where he met this little penguin and you're from the South Pole? South Pole? Ooh, I'm dying. Oh, too low. Ooh, I'm dying. Oh, yeah. That's pretty much how I feel at this $237 price. I mean, this is an interesting pan. Yes, as I said, it looks like a very old hand scribe pan. But not at that price. Oh yeah, and $29 shipping cost too. So we're talking like a minimum of over $250 for this thing. Ooh. Yeah. Well, some people do have their reasons for selling these pans at these ridiculous prices. I understand there's some kind, I wouldn't say a scam, but for some of these sellers, there's some kind of a scheme going on where you intentionally put it at an impossible price on eBay. I'm thinking maybe just so that you can have it as proof. Yeah, look, see, it's selling on eBay for this price. He's got to be cast iron, says Debbie. He's pretty, has some bluing, like where the creases are a natural bluing, though. Oh, well, that's interesting. Your screen works here than your camera. No buffering, staying current. Well, part of the reason why is I'm using my desktop computer and it has a direct wired Ethernet connection, whereas my my kitchen does not have a direct connection, and as a result, I have to do it on Wi-Fi down there. So what are the handsome stones? So what's the small pore spouts versus large pore spouts versus dismatic pore spouts? My understanding is the earliest generation or series of BSNR had these tiny, tiny pore spouts. In fact, you may remember I managed to score a handwritten BSNR Dutch oven last year, which I'm really glad to have too. And this also has a tiny, tiny pore spout on it. So I would say the tiny pore spout is one example of how you can tell this is a really, really old BSNR. Whereas the Red Mountains, the pore spouts apparently got larger as time passed. So that's the best I could say about the small pore spouts versus the large pore spouts. So this looks like a genuine item. I'm still not paying that much for it, though. Okay. And we can keep on going and going and going. Breakfast griddle, $85. BSNR number 7, $55. Number 8, restored, $30. Never used Dutch oven number 8, BSNR Century, $163. So yeah, we're talking plus shipping. It's over $180 for a BSNR number 8 Dutch oven. Okay, yeah, this is definitely... Huh. Oh yeah, here's the rare skillet, the rare knob lid. In that, if anybody dares call it a Pioneer Series lid, then you can bet that there are some folks on the cast iron collecting groups, mentioning no names, who are just gonna lose their minds over it. No, there wasn't a Pioneer Series, and you're stupid for saying that. No, I know. It's a Century Series that BSNR produced. I believe it was for Sears Roebuck. And yet, only this Pioneer thing seems to be the one that they made these knob-handled lids for. What did I miss? Overpriced BSR? Hello, Captain Kirk. Well, what you missed is I am doing this streaming from my desktop thing for the very first time, in that I'm doing a screen capture instead of on my webcam. So this is the first time, literally the first time I've done this tonight, so I'm getting used to this as well, which means I'm really just wasting time here and browsing through eBay and seeing some interesting sites. We've seen a lot of high-priced and overpriced cast iron. We've seen maybe one thing that might, no, correction, maybe two things that might be considered a fair deal so far. And those two things were, me yawning for one. Those two things I think we've seen tonight, unless anybody disagrees with me, that would seem like actually a decent price, were a 3S skillet, which was going for a fairly decent price, and a so-called Mercedes peace sign skillet, which was also going for a decent price. Both of them had bids. Neither of them had a buy it now, so it's likely that the price will go up. But both of those were actually selling at decent prices. Yes, Mudbrooker style. You're exactly right, Silva 579. As I said, this is my very first time doing this screen capture streaming thing. And yes, I know, Mudbrooker's been doing this for a while. I'm not really trying to imitate him, but it gives me something to do as I test this streaming, and I am using screen recorder, Cyberlink screen recorder for this. So, I mean, heck, if Mudbrooker's watching, good. You know, as I said, I'm not trying to compete with him. His thing's tomorrow night anyway. But anyway, as I said, what we're looking at is the so-called Pioneer lid, which, as again, the cast iron experts will tell you, no, there wasn't a Pioneer series, you idiot. So, yeah, I'm calling myself an idiot. I'm not calling anybody here an idiot. Okay. Anyway, enough with this. Yeah, so we've seen some... Whoops, I did it again. Wrong thing, sorry. I keep going back to Facebook. Anyway, we've seen some interesting things tonight. Like, here's another look, for instance, at this handwritten BSNR number 10. Yeah, that may be indeed very old. Unfortunately, this thing has a ridiculous price. And for that reason, I would not want to even try going for that. So, unfortunately, like it or not... Number 7, Red Mountain Chicken Fryer, $500. Okay, we're starting to get to some ridiculous prices here. Let's see. BSNR 8-inch number 5. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm yawning again. I'm sorry about that. Here is a number 5 that, based on the font here, this must be from the 1980s or so. It's got an interesting font on this. It's different from most of them. So I would have to guess, as I said, maybe 1980s. Number 3, I still have not seen anything really interesting. Well, this is interesting. BSNR number 14 with what looks like a polished, smooth surface here. Nice quality, I'll say that. However, this price is not to be believed. Oh, man. Yeah, no, I am sorry, but I am not going to click on the buy it now, no matter, yeah, not at that price. But it's in not bad condition. Yeah, it's in number 14. It's definitely 1970s series. But man, you can see the swirl marks on it and everything. So it's got a really nice surface to it. I can't deny that. That's for sure. Oops, wrong one. Okay. Vintage BSNR. The guy hasn't even bothered cleaning it, and he's selling it for $30 plus 15. So he's selling this thing. He's selling this thing here for $45, including shipping, and he hasn't even bothered cleaning it. And from the looks of this, yeah, exactly. It's a number 3. So I'm sure this guy must have a reason why he's selling it at that price, but quite frankly, I'm not even going to stick around to find out. Okay. Oh, look, a spatula. Oh, yeah, and that's the other thing. You know, people these days, they seem to be selling these spatulas for more than the cost of the pans themselves. So, yeah. Oh, crap. Okay. That's work calling. All right. With that, I think I'm gonna have to end this for tonight. Unfortunately, I just got a page from work, I'm afraid. So that means I'm gonna have to call this a night. And besides, this was just an experiment anyway. So let's take care of that, and let's. I will continue this another time because yeah, I can see why Mudbrooker does these things. I mean, they're easy to do, that's for sure. Okay. Yeah, in fact, how about this? Maybe the next time, instead of just looking at cast iron, how about we actually go, this will be next time, we'll go looking for stuff. I mean, stuff like, for instance, a rack that Fuzz Fork is looking for, or maybe some pens that, that we really want to find or something. So, I think we'll call that a night. And, yeah, well, thank you very much, Cynthia. And, well, yeah, work comes first. All right. I'll catch you folks later. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good evening.